My name is Tony Meyer. I'm one of the co-chairs of this conference, so a warm welcome from me. And of course, it's very opportune at the moment as we read in the news, and even the news this morning, of all sorts of risks around the world which are appearing. Anyway, all I need to do at this stage is to remind you to turn your handphones on at the end of the session. And to introduce my colleague and good friend, who's your chair for today and the key organizer, Jan Vasbinder. Jan.
So, my name is Jan Vasbinder. Mr. Singh, where is he? Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Global Dialogue at Nanyang Technological University, which is the host of this conference, I welcome you all to what I trust will be 3 very exciting days. Global Dialogue at NTU is a platform where the best people meet. 2 pillars support Global Dialogue: the Institute of Advanced Studies and Paralimes. Paralimes means beyond boundaries. It was established by the president of the NTU, Bertel Anderson, who wanted a small unit in the university to explore areas of interest for science, society, and the university, beyond the traditional boundaries of disciplines, institutes, and nationalities. In other words, explorations that require cross-disciplinary and complexity approaches. In this spirit, Paralimes initiates exploratory projects by teams of eminent scientists, philosophers, artists, policymakers, and men and women of practice. The conference Disrupted Balance, Society at Risk fits this exploratory spirit in several ways. First, it deals with an issue that is highly relevant for our future: the resilience of societies in the face of major disruptions. Second, we have assembled a group of world-class speakers who are uniquely qualified to address this issue. And third, it goes beyond the boundaries of the academic ways to discuss this. In doing so, this conference intends to create a focus for strengthening the resilience of our society. The central issue for the conference is not the probability of a serious disruption or of a balance in the system that upholds society, but the risk to society when such a disruption occurs. On a global scale, such disruptions happen quite frequently. In fact, as one of the speakers will show or tell, disasters with small probability happen all the time. And looking at the news this morning and a couple of weeks ago, examples are all over the place. The question is what to do when such a disruption occurs. How can we prepare ourselves to deal with such disruptions? And what can leaders in a society do as part of their responsibility, and what must they do? As another speaker will tell us, they need to think the unthinkable. That is, they need to anticipate disruptions in crucial systems in society, understand the effects of such disruptions, and then act to ensure those effects can be mitigated. Within Southeast Asia, Singapore is uniquely placed to take a leading position in dealing with the consequences of major disruptions. To mention only one reason, Singapore lies in the middle of a heavily populated region that frequently has to bear the brunt of heavy earthquakes, tsunamis, cyclones, and flooding. Although Singapore is not prone to the direct effects of such disasters, it is highly vulnerable to the secondary effects. And the impacts of such secondary effects is largely determined by the impact on the directly affected societies caused by the disruptive event itself. To be able to anticipate the consequences of such major disruptions and quickly respond to alleviate the primary effects when they occur will diminish the impact of the secondary effects for Singapore and all the nations in Southeast Asia. This is true for the effects of the direct tremblings of nature, such as earthquakes, but also for the effects of pandemics, financial upheavals, or a collapsing cyberspace. Singapore could be a leader in Southeast Asia in anticipating and managing that risk to society. Such leadership would create a strategic position for Singapore that would benefit not only Singapore, but the whole region. And the secondary effects thereof would benefit Singapore again. To climb to such a leading position requires collaborative actions between government, industry, and academia. And this is not a trivial issue, and therefore cannot be left to academics alone. When I discussed this conference about a year ago with senior members of the Singapore civil service, we agreed that this conference should be one step towards a coalescence of talent and forces that will strengthen Singapore's resilience to major disruptions and create a platform from which Singapore can develop a strategic position in the management of societal risks in the region. So here is our expectation about this conference. It is not just a nice meeting with great people. It is a call to think about how to protect our society from the consequences of disruptions in the systems that support it, and how to mobilize the talent to create a leading position for Singapore.